I plan on starting a survival world, a brand new one, when 1.18 comes out with all the terrain generation, which also means this series, the hardcore one, will probably come to an end once that happens. Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and welcome to what is now the last episode of Minecraft Hardcore. As you can probably tell from the intro to this video, I am going to be starting a new world in 1.18. That was always a plan, it was most likely never going to change, and what comes with the start of a new world is also the end of an old world, which just so happens to be this one right here. So today we're going to go around and take a tour of my semi-finished hardcore world, and I've gone and finished up most of what I was trying to do before ending off this series. There were a couple of things I just don't have the time for, like some more landscaping for example, but the new update caught me a little bit off guard, so I need to prepare for my new survival series that we're going to be starting, and I do have some ideas, they're really cool ones, but none of it is set in stone just yet, so I kind of need to put my time into that before the new update actually arrives. And that leads me on to say that if you have enjoyed this series at all, please give the other series a try. It's going to be very similar to this one, the only difference being if I die, the series isn't over, the world doesn't disappear, I just get to respawn and carry on as normal. So it's not hardcore, it's just regular old survival, which is my personal preference, and as I said, I got some really cool ideas and I cannot wait to share them with you all. I'm really looking forward to it. So if you like this series, I can pretty much guarantee you're gonna like that one too. So mark your calendars for Saturday the 4th of December, that is going to be when episode 1 of Survival is released. Goat, please, I'm trying to do some self-promotion. So if you're not subscribed, please feel free to do that, and of course the bell option to be notified when I upload videos is there if you want it too. Anyway, we should probably get started with the tour here, and I'm going to go around and do this in chronological order, at least for the most part, just so we can reminisce and maybe get a little bit of nostalgia as we go along. Even though the series hasn't been going on for a while, I still think it's quite a nice way to do a tour. So this right here, if we can get to a better vantage point, is actually my starter house. This is the first thing we built in this world, and it's actually one of my favorite little starter house builds I've ever done. I do quite like it. It was one of my first builds with the new deep slate block, and I'm super duper happy with how it turned out. As well as the copper roof, which was extremely expensive for the start of a game. It doesn't look like a lot, but it took a while to gather all of it. Copper is still very expensive. So I can't remember if this was in episode 1 or a following one, but we got Gertrude here, who is our goat resident living nearby in the little pen to the side, and then Hero here joined us sometime in the future. He survived a wither attack, which we did in episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. And on the inside here, we just have the basic necessities, some smelting, we got a little stone cutter and crafting table up here, with some storage up in the ceiling, and a bed to go to sleep. And then underground, I actually think we did this in episode 2, is my enchanting table with a glorious amethyst floor. And this is also my starter cubby hole before we even built this house. It has changed a little bit since then. It literally was just one single door going into the mountain here. But inside I had virtually none of this. I think the only thing I actually had was this staircase going down to my mine shaft, all the way at the bottom there. Which I'm not going to show you because, well, it's nothing special. Next up we have my Amethyst Tower, which was built in episode 3. Yep, only episode 3 and we were making stuff like this. And I've mentioned this before in another video, but I'm pretty sure this is my favorite solitary build I've ever done. So just one building, not like a combination of a lot of buildings such as my custom village, just one building. I think this is my favorite. I am just so happy with how this turned out, mainly on the exterior. The interior is something to be desired. There's not a whole lot going on there. We will check it out, but not just yet. So yeah, this I think is my favorite build. I love how it turned out, and a lot of you guys did too when I actually made this. So on the inside, most importantly, we have these two holes right here, and this leads down to my skeleton spawner, my XP farm, which was very helpful in the start of the game, and actually throughout the entire series up until last episode. This was my only source of a lot of XP, so I definitely got my fair share from using this farm. Super duper helpful. But then if we go up the bubble column here, we end up in the same room as you can see, and then we actually have this ladder going up to some other floors. And on the first floor here we have a brewing room, which I never used. Not even once, I don't think so. That's going to be a recurring theme in this tour. There's a lot of stuff I haven't really used. Same goes for the netherwort farm. As you can see, all of it is fully grown. Never touched that thing. And then up here is just a spare room for a nether portal. And I probably went through this nether portal instead of my other one maybe 2 times. So yeah, I got my fair use out of this room a little bit, and then up the top here is literally just a little observation deck, which has a great view of my world here, mainly from this side here. I haven't really built anything back that way, but you can see some of my other builds, which we'll be checking out very shortly. In episode 5, we built my storage room just inside here with an axolotl pond right on the doorstep. And this thing right here probably has maybe 15 axolotls in by now. I'm not sure. This thing is brimming with these little guys. They're everywhere. Every time I saw one, I picked it up in a water bucket and I plopped it in the pond here. So they have a lovely little habitat to live in. They're super adorable, and it makes for a great opener to my storage room. Once we cross over the bridge here, we end up inside, and I maybe filled up a third of all of the chests here. I was a little bit ambitious with how much storage I would actually need, but then again, it is better to have more than less when it comes to storage, in my humble opinion. And then if we just follow the pathway on up to this building, we have the horse stables, which is what we made in episode 6. And on the inside here, we have some of our, I was going to call them furry friends, but horses aren't really the furriest of animals. I guess they technically have fur, or do they have hair? I don't know. I don't really know horses that well. But yeah, this is Buddy, my main horse. We used him to get around a lot before I got these elytra wings. And yeah, he was very helpful in the early game. In the room over, we have Marbles, the donkey, and Azalea, the mule, who have maybe been out of this pen twice combined. So yeah, they didn't get quite as much use, but we do also have a hayloft up here, which we found a nice little home in for our 2 cats. These were the original 2 cats that I got from a local village. The rest of their babies are all underground in a creeper farm. Sorry guys, I had to do it. And that is what we made in the next episode. All of the items then lead to this little building we have up here on the surface, which isn't really meant to resemble anything. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why it looks like this. It's just in the same style as the other buildings around here, same block palette, that sort of thing, but it just holds all of my gunpowder, which produces a bit more than I actually need. I don't have quite that much use for this amount of gunpowder, but it definitely was a useful thing to build in this world, because once I got my elytra, I was rocketing about all over the place, and we do actually have a sugarcane farm, which we'll get to very shortly, so it basically meant I had an infinite supply of rockets, which of course is always very helpful. Next up, we have my least favorite part of the world, which is this thing right here. It's meant to be a giant beehive, and I do definitely think it looks like that. It's actually quite a cool build on its own. The trouble is, it just doesn't really fit with the rest of the world, in my opinion. It looks a little bit out of place, and there were multiple times I was tempted to actually get rid of it entirely, but decided against it because, well, it seemed unnecessary. It's already built, it's part of the history of this series, so I didn't, and instead have kept it around. But another reason why I thought about getting rid of it was because, well, the bee farm and honey farm no longer works. Hello, little friend. How did you get in here? You're making me destroy all my flowers. How very mean of you. But yeah, it once worked. There were bees absolutely everywhere. Loads of honey was being produced, but eventually one day, as bees often do in Minecraft, they just despawned, disappeared, or died. I honestly have no idea, but what I do know is they're no longer here for some reason. Now moving on to episode 9, as well as episode 10, where we built this thing right here, a crystal cave, or known as the crystal cavity. This is just a bunch of crystals, as you can see, dotted around a cave that we made ourselves. This was not hollow at all when we started. This is built entirely from scratch, and as you can see, we also dotted a few houses on the inside here and filled them with villagers for me to trade with. So these are the only ones I really got any use out of. They are my librarians. There were some silk touch books, a mending book, and an unbreaking, I think, was the other one. And once again, although I didn't get much use, very, very helpful for this series. Having a supply of mending books is always a great idea. But we also have some cartographers down there. In this room is... what are you? I honestly have no idea. A butcher, never used. And then up here we have someone who was meant to be a cleric, but he never actually picked up that workstation, which was a bit of a pain in the butt. And then over here we have a bunch of different blacksmiths with their individual workstations, as you can see. We do have one more room here, which held 2 stonecutters, or stonemasons, at one point in time, but they mysteriously died. They were eaten by zombies, and to this day, I still have no conclusive answer for how that actually happened. We've all theorized many things in the comments, but none of it has stood out to me as being the obvious thing as to what happened. So I guess we will never know what happened to the stonemasons here in the crystal cavity. What we do know, however, is what we built in episode 11 as well as episode 12. And I just realized I need to get some string up here. Let me do that real quick. No more snow. Thank you. There we go. Okay, we're all snowed out. Or snowed in? I'm not sure. I'm going to keep this string on me though, because I feel like that's going to happen again whilst we're taking a tour around. So this is actually what we made in episode 12. What we built on the inside is what we made in episode 11. So we'll start with the episode 12 build. This is my Deep Slate Castle. It is monstrous. It's far too big. It doesn't need to be this big, but I think that's what makes it really quite cool and very menacing looking. So yeah, I won't talk too much about the design or anything like that. I did enough about it in the episode, but really, really happy with how this build came together. It is a pretty terrifying castle, if you ask me. It looks very, very evil, which is kind of the plan, because on the inside, there is nothing more evil than what is on the inside of this castle, which is a sugarcane farm. That's actually kind of evilly infested by a million mobs. As you can see here, they're everywhere. I couldn't really light up this build very well, so yeah, lots and lots of mobs spawn in here and apparently pick up sugarcane and then never despawn again. That actually would be a problem if this were to be a long running world, but thankfully it's not. So yeah, oh boy, I didn't even realize how many mobs actually gathered up in here. There's quite a few. In the next episode, we actually fought the Ender Dragon, got that out of the way with, completed the game. Very nice, good stuff. It's not too astonishing at this point in time. But in the next episode, episode 14, we built this Cartographers House, which didn't have a group of llamas outside but before we built it. These have kind of joined us over time, and as you can see, the llama who we were watching in the last episode actually made it over. So yeah, we're going to have to grab a carpet and a name tag for this guy because he has joined the group of these rather colourful llamas. But before we do that, let's check out the build and also the inside. So as I said, this is a cartographer's house, just a pretty simple build. What's on the inside is actually what's most important. So excuse me guys, just got to come through. We have some bed and reading material and a nice little bedroom at the bottom here. But what is cool is actually my world map, which hasn't been updated since we built this thing. So yeah, let me actually pop off all of these maps and then we can have a look around properly. Okay, I think that's everything. It's actually quite hard to tell the difference because we haven't gone over everything just yet, but as you can see, this big thing has made an appearance, which we'll visit fairly soon, as well as what we built in the previous episode, and a couple of other things like this little hut that we'll go check out soon, the Foundry over here, and all of my landscaping that we've done, and a couple of other things that I'm probably forgetting. But the point is, it's updated now to its complete version. So what would you like to be called, my friend? We have Cosmo, we have Cliff, we have Cloud, we have Clover, and then the original llama Sky, who was actually flung off a cliff by a goat from that spot up there, hence why she's called Sky. She doesn't really fit with the sea names we have around here, but I would like to keep you as a sea name. So now I gotta find something beginning with C. Cobblestone? Cobbled? Cobble? Maybe just Cob? I don't know. I really cannot think of anything, guys. I think we're gonna go with Cob. Or even better, corn on the cob. And you, my friend, once I tame you here, can have a yellow carpet because, well, corn. So there we go. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 llamas all grouped together in this caravan here. They follow Sky, who is the leader. And what happened, for those of you who don't know, basically I tied Sky up here. As you can see, she's attached to that lead. And one by one, they just slowly gathered around her and joined onto her caravan. So now, without even being tied up, they just hang around the Cartographers House here, which is a fun little thing. Anyway, continuing on with the tour now, we have the Foundry over here, which is once again one of my favorite builds in this world here, probably second to the Amethyst Tower over there. This is a really cool and also functional build. So we have the Foundry, as you can see. I'll take a little fly away just so you can see it a bit better. And we have some interesting stuff going on. We got pipes, we got smoke coming out of the top, and then round the back we actually have a big stack of ores here with a moving minecart, which if I hang around here for long enough, you should find it come out the side here, and it's meant to, you know, come pick up some ores and then go into the foundry to be smelted up. But on the inside, what we actually have, aside from a very annoying clicking noise, is a super smelter, which I have used and forgotten to turn off a grand total of 1 time. Yeah, once. I've used it once. I spent so long designing and coming up with this thing, as well as actually building it in the world here, and I've used it once to smelt up some glass, I think it was, or maybe something else, I'm not sure. The point is, it hasn't gotten much use, but that's okay because it's a really cool build and it made for a pretty cool video. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite additions to this world, despite literally never using it. In episode 16, we did a Q&A caving episode, which was pre-recorded alongside the one where we built this thing right here. It's just a little fox pen. It's a very small build. I needed it to be small because I was away on a trip to Iceland. I'm mentioning that because it's important for the next thing I'm going to show you. But real quick before it gets proper nighttime here, let me just show you around. So we have this cute little fox pen with some nice terrain leading over to it, kind of like this natural bridge, which I quite like, and this underpass leading through it, which goes round to that thing. And yeah, inside here we have 4 foxes, which will run around like crazy. They do have some names, which are I'm gonna have to go to bed first. That's not their names, that's just an instruction for myself, or otherwise some bad things are gonna spawn. Their names are in fact Forbney over here, being a very good boy, sitting down so I can carefully look at them. Then we have Fiddle. Over here we have Phineas. Phineas, yep, that's right. And then the last one is actually probably in this underground bit, and that is Flint. So yeah, as you can see, they got a nice little underground cave here, which I really like. This is a super cozy build. I actually am really happy with how this one turned out. So yeah, they enjoy their time here, although they do try and escape some time. But that's just because, yeah, they want to get out. They want to get out real bad. I can't even lie. So as I mentioned, I pre-recorded episode 16 and 17 because I was away on my trip to Iceland. It was a lovely time, but I came back feeling super inspired to do an Iceland related build. And I ended up making a hot springs area just round the back of the horse stables over here. We actually got a little archway going through the mountain coming right out to the hot springs, which I think is really nice. But yeah, we made this natural looking pool, filled it with water and put some campfires underneath it, hence why it's smoking. I know it technically should be steam with hot springs, but there's no steam in Minecraft, so smoke will have to do. And then we have a nice little cave over here with a basalt end to it for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, this was a fun little build to do after feeling so inspired from visiting the beautiful land of Iceland. The next build I have to show you guys is this cute and cozy fishing hut, and it's just on the front of this lake here, which has always existed, but it never looked this good. I actually completely changed the look of this lake. It was really quite ugly before. I connected it to the river on that way, got rid of a big lava fall going onto it and making that look super ugly, and just generally improved the shape. And of course built a fishing hut with a boat on it, which yeah, all looks pretty good in its finished form here. So let's just take a quick look on the inside here. Not that there's much to actually look at. We've just got the bare necessities in here for a fisherman. Of course, his chair to sit on out here and do some fishing. And like I said, we got a boat if he wants to take it out that way and go a bit further afield. Pay no attention to the fact the boat would not actually fit under that bridge there. In the next episode, episode 20, we built this animal barn here for some cows and some sheep, which, like a lot of other things in this world, did not get much use at all. Unfortunately, like I said, the update 1.18 caught me a bit off guard. I thought I had some more time in this world, hence why I built an animal barn, because yeah, I thought I would maybe need stuff from these guys at some point in time, but I never really did. Regardless, it's a pretty cool build. I do quite like this one. Then we had a Halloween themed episode where we made this haunted house. Actually, I pretended this haunted house just appeared into existence. I didn't show it being built until right at the end, but I did build it, in fact, just off camera. And it's a really spooky looking house. We did a whole little roleplay episode. It was very fun for the season of Halloween. But once we finished with the roleplay, we went and got a witch to go inside of here. And her name, wherever she is, down here I believe, yes, is Adelaide. And I'm going to try and show you around this because it's actually quite a cool building, but I'm going to try not to get poisoned and die at the same time because I don't plan on dying in this world. Even though we are at the end here, I'd rather not go in the last episode or at all. So up here we have a spooky bedroom, very overrun by cobwebs, got a nice little fireplace, and then down here we have not a whole lot going on, but we do have this weird looking book which kind of hurts your eyes to look at. And then down here, of course, we have Adelaide, and she's going to be angry with me most likely, but I'm going to run down quick and show you. We just have a nice like spooky lair, right? We got some cauldrons, we got some hanging vines, we got this is actually like a little trap that I fell down in the episode, scared some people with a jump scare. They thought the series was going to end. We got a cage over here which has been broken into, a little sawing device to chop some people in half, and a very angry witch. So yeah, I'm going to leave. Hopefully you guys got all that. Episode 22 was one of my personal favourites in this series. It's when we did all of this custom landscaping, in particularly the custom trees that you can see right here. These are actually a design from King Z. I cannot claim them for my own, even though I'd very much like to because they are beautiful. But the point is, it hugely transformed this little area here, and I was hoping to do it everywhere else in the world, at least in the extended area, kind of branching out to all of my main builds, but I just haven't had the time, unfortunately, so it's had to stick to just this area, which is okay because it's like the main area. It's where most of my stuff is, and it's where we started. So we added in some custom trees which are beautiful, a lot of grass, a couple of wild flower patches, and then we also made some additions like this, such as a little cave or cove, I'm not sure what to call this, but with a campfire and some logs to sit on the inside. We also have a dual waterfall over here, all coming together and falling into this little hole, which ends up in this spot, which is pretty cool. You wouldn't even see that if you didn't know it was down there. And then the other thing we added in was a larger waterfall over in this spot right here, which actually turned out pretty well. Oh, and one more thing we added in was this thing that we've already looked at right at the start of the episode, but we made a pond outside of the starter area and just put a little bridge and this thing in front of it. There's only a couple more things to show you. We're getting very close to the end now, but one of them is this giant windmill here surrounded by a big old wheat field. We only built this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to spend too long talking about it, but yeah, this is it. Most of the wheat has now fully grown up. We got a little bit around the back here which hasn't quite fully, but that's okay. So yeah, this is the great big windmill in the center here, and we're actually going to head inside and check out something that I've added in between episodes. This was something I was meant to do last episode, but I completely forgot. So I left this bottom floor unfinished when we built the windmill, asking for you guys for some ideas of what we should build here, and I saw a couple of people mention a bakery, pretending that, you know, you you bake the stuff upstairs and sell it down here in the actual bakery. So yeah, this is like a little shop. We got some cakes on display, as well as some cookies, some bread, and some pumpkin pie, as well as like a little money pot. So, you know, you'd come in here, take what you want, and basically works on trust. You know, you put the money in the pot and go off with whatever you've just purchased. And we also have a bell here if you need some assistance from the bakers upstairs, which will actually head up now and take a look at the lack of bakers. There's no bakers, it's just me in this world. But this is where we have the inner workings of the windmill. We have some sort of like mechanism up here meant to be connecting to the wheel outside, which then turns and mixes all of the wheat in here and eventually somehow turns into bread, and then we just got some other stuff going on. All very cool. I do quite like this build. It's, like I've said for a couple of others, one of my favorites in this world. So there is only one last build to show you guys, and it is in fact just down this pathway here, past the wheat field and over this second bridge, and it is what we made, as you may have guessed, in the previous episode. I probably don't even need to show you this to you guys, but I will just in case there's any of you watching right now that have not watched the rest of the series at all. So this is a cozy campsite that is meant to be for silk traders. As you can see, we got some stuff going on around that. They're making some colored banners to sell on to whoever, and of course all of their looms and beds inside of their different tents here. But the main purpose of this campsite I've said it again. I said that in the last episode. Campsite is what is underground, and if we just drop into this hole here, you can see we have the second and other than the skeleton farm, only XP farm in this world, and that is a cave spider farm, which is definitely helped me out in the last episode here, getting all of this string so we can cover up the snow. But yeah, just a simple little farm, simple little room with a simple little build up here on the surface. So there we go, everybody. That is my hardcore world. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video and the series as a whole. It has been so much fun to try out hardcore mode and just do something new. In all my years of playing Minecraft, I've never done hardcore before, so it was really nice to branch out and try something a bit different. However, from this point forth, there will probably be no more hardcore videos in this world. I think this one has seen its last days here in this video. I won't rule out the exception of hardcore returning at some point far in the future, but for right now, it's just going to be regular old survival starting from next week. As I said, if you guys want to check it out, that would be greatly appreciated. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. One last thing to say before ending off the video here, and that is there's going to be a world download available to all of you who are YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. I don't do public world downloads anymore, unfortunately. I've had too many issues in the past with them. Other creators in quotation marks, download my worlds and pass my builds off as their own and then profit off of it by uploading videos and monetizing those videos. So yeah, that's really annoying, as you can imagine, and quite disheartening, so I don't do them publicly anymore. It's just for YouTube members and Twitch subs. So if you want to become one of those, either head over to Twitch and subscribe, or you can click the join button down below. Or if there's no join button, head to the description and there should be a link for you to click. So if you can get your hands on this world, I hope you enjoy looking around. And to those of you who can't, I'm really sorry. I hope this series has been enough. But thank you ever so much for watching it. It has been an absolute blast, and I really hope to see you in the next series starting from next week. So one last time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.